The separation of Ranginui and Papatūānuku. The Māori Gods, Book 2. Every iwi has its version of the creation story. So when it comes to understanding the nature of conflict, man's hostility, and his bent for war, it began a long time ago, way before man became flesh and blood. Ranginui and Papatūānuku were for eons clenched in a warm embrace. Their children, all 70 of them, were male, and all were gods. They all lived securely within their mother's womb, where it was warm but dark. One day, some broke free of that warmth and darkness upon their mother's menstrual flow. On the outside, they saw the beauty of the world and the great expanse of light. While they had been warm on the inside, they were now bitten by the piercing cold outside. In fright, they rushed to their mother's side, seeking refuge and warmth. But as soon as the warmth returned, so did their thoughts of how they might experience the vast beauty of the world they had seen. They argued, and soon it became clear that the majority favoured the separation of their parents. But who was up to the task? Some, like Whiro, objected, and from that point on, the anger amongst them grew. Tāwhiri Mātea settled the argument, and Tāne was given the task. And so, the first of Tāne's many great deeds was to separate their parents. He lay with his back on Papatūānuku, with his legs bent skywards, and pushing as hard as he could, he attempted to force his parents apart. Even though he was strong, he could not separate them completely, their hands refusing to let go. Tāwhiri Mātea called for the sacred axes of Te Awhiorangi and Te Whiro Nui. The axes were given to Wehenga, with which to sever the clinging arms. So with Tāne thrusting upwards and the axes of Wehenga flaying, blood spewed into the atmosphere and over the earth. And so at times we see red skies, and red ochre can be found in the earth. Finally, their parents were separated. But the resentment between Tāne and those who supported him, and the others who railed against the separation, continued to grow. Ruaumoko alone returned to his mother's womb, where he resides to this day. Ever since that time, the children have lived separate lives in separate houses. Some live at Maraenui, the home of Tū Te Aniwaniwa. Others live at huaki pauri. In the early evening, or sometimes at the breaking of dawn, Papatūānuku releases a forlorn sigh, and the rising mist carries her eternal affections to Ranginui, the love of her life. Ranginui in return sheds copious tears as his broken heart yearns for Papatūānuku, laid out below him. Each knowing that as inevitable as the day, conflict and anger would continue to pervade Te Pairangi.